Okay, before we get into the tutorial, just a quick disclaimer. I am not a rigger. This is just the approach that I came up with in order to solve the multiple eyes in the face problem that I had in my latest sequence. So keep in mind that it may not be the perfect method, but it gets the job done. So with that being said, enjoy the video. Okay, here we have our character. This is one of the M rigs from Ramon Arango, just with some modifications, but this should work with any other rig you may have. We'll start by selecting the eye ring, click one face and double click the next one to select an entire loop, then Shift plus greater than sign to increase the selection, and once you have the entire eye ring selected, hit Ctrl Shift I to invert the selection and then H to hide. We can also click this little button right here to isolate our selection and then remove the faces we don't need. Then hide any other object besides the eye. For the eyeball, hiding half of it will be enough. Now, if you cannot hide any specific control from your rig, you can select them, create a layer, and then hide the layer. Now, for simplifying purposes, I'll be making the main eye target control smaller, since we obviously have one eye only now. And we can do that by right-clicking, Control Vertex, and then edit the shape. I will be using this control on the side as the main eye control, since it's already moving the entire eye. We just need to make it more intuitive by doing the same as before. But in this case, by selecting this control, it selects his children too. Instead, we can isolate it by clicking the down arrow button, adjust the shape to our liking, and there it is. Now Ctrl D to duplicate and deleting anything but the shape. We are going to use this as an offset control to parent constrain it to any surface, leaving as the previous one to animate it freely without any constraint. Then select the smaller one, then the big one, and hit P for parent. And I'll do the same with the eye target. Since I have my target kind of rotated and we don't have any rotations channels to fix it, we can go to Edit, Channel Control, and on the locked panel select all the rotations and select Move to unlock them. Now we can fix it. Okay, now comes the interesting part. Just make sure you're in the Rigging tab. We have to select all the geometry involved, in this case the eyeball, the skin, and the eyelashes. Then click on Deform and Lattice. We are left with this giant box and two elements in the outliner, the lattice and the base. Select both of them and scale them until it fits the eye. Make sure it is covered entirely. Under Settings, type 332 so we get just enough points to deform the eye. And then the central vertex has to be as close as the iris as possible, so keep an eye on that. My god, that was so bad. Then to test the lattice, we can select it and right-click Lattice Point. You should get something like this. So now, to make it follow the rig, we select both the base and the lattice in the outliner, then select all small eye control and hit P to parent. Now enter the lattice point mode and select all the top vertices. Then go to the Form, Cluster, and we can now move the top of it. Do the same for the bottom, then select the two middle vertices, create a cluster again, and the same for the sides. Finally, make sure you name them accordingly. Let's create some controls for the clusters so they can be more easy to use. Go to the Curves tab and then create a circle. Rotate it and place it in front of the top cluster, as aligned as you can. Then right-click, Control Vertex, and select the diagonal points, if that is a word, and scale them inwards to create this cool shape. Then duplicate it, place them in front of the other clusters, select all of them and create a new layer. I'll name it Deformers and assign a nice color. Let's separate them a little bit. With all of them selected, then select the small eye control and hit P to parent. Now we're going to parent the clusters to the controls by doing the same. First select the cluster and then the control and hit P. If you now try to translate the eye control, you would notice this weird thing happening. Don't worry now, we'll fix it later. Just finish parenting the clusters. Now we have custom controls for the eye. But if we try to move our eye, we have this problem. And that is happening for a reason. On one side, we have our lattice object, which by itself can move the entire eye, and is child of the eye control. And on the other side, we also have the clusters that are also able to move the entire eye, but separately, that are also child of the eye control. So we're getting this double transformation issue, and it's as easy to solve as simply going to the outliner and moving the lattice object outside of the big control hierarchy. We're almost done, just a few more steps. Now, when you select the deformers, even though they're in the default position, their transformations are all messed up. We just need to select all of them, hit Channels, Freeze, All. Now we're able to reset the position. We can do the same for the eye target, in this case only freezing translation, which is the only available channel, and done. In an ideal world, we'd do the same for the main eye controls, but for some reason I don't know, it won't work. But good news is that we don't need it. Let's test the efficacy of this by placing it on a sphere. By placing the deformers we created and adjusting the secondary controls, you can get pretty decent results. Now you can parent constrain the big control by selecting the sphere first, then the control and constrained parent. You cannot go wild with this because the ice starts to sink into the sphere like crazy after a couple of twists, but for the most part it works fine. Before we wrap up, depending on your model, you may encounter some imperfection like this one I found by closing the lids, where this little corner sticks out. For this you can use the Sticky Mod plugin. It is very easy to use. Just select a vertex, I like to select the Nerf Curve mode and then hit create a Sticky Mod. Then you can change the fall of radius channel to adjust the influence, and that will be it. Okay. For all my Blender kinks, I'm gonna be using this free rig that I found. The bad thing about it is that it's all triangulated, which is not a bad thing per se, but it's gonna make our first part a little bit more tedious, since we cannot select the loops and we have to do it by hand. After a couple of minutes, I managed to select this region of the eye. Go to this green panel and we're going to create a new vertex group. Name it Eye Mask and hit the Assign button to assign the selected vertices. Now we can go to Modifiers and search for Mask. In Vertex Group, look for the one we've just created, and we've successfully masked the skin. We're going to do the same for the eyeball. Select the front half of the sphere, create a vertex group, hit Assign, add Mask modifier, and select the group. Now we need to hide the objects we won't need, and also the rig controls we won't be using. For the eye target control, we're going to simplify the shape since we only have one eye now, and for that we need to select the control in pose mode and go to Bone, Viewport Display, and in Custom Object, look for a circle. Then you can use these parameters to adjust the shape. If a circle doesn't appear to you on the search bar, don't worry, you can simply tab out to Object Mode, hit Shift-A, Curve, Circle. Hide it and use that as the custom object. Place the 3D cursor in the center of the eye by Shift right clicking, then Shift-A Lattice, scale down to cover the size of the eye, adjust the lattice resolution to 313, and rotate it till it fits the current eye placement. Select the skin and go to Modifiers, Add Modifier, Lattice. Select the lattice object we've created, and now if we edit the lattice, the skin will be affected. Now to copy the effect onto the eyeball, we can go to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons. Type Copy and activate Copy Attributes menu. Click the icon in the corner to save preferences. Then click the eyeball first, then the skin, Ctrl-C, copy selected modifiers, select lattice and hit OK. Now our lattice is affecting both of them. In edit mode, select the central vertex of the lattice, then hit Shift-S, cursor to selected, go back to object mode and hit Shift-A, armature, single bone. Scale it down in edit mode and try to match the lattice. Hit N to open the item panel and adjust the roll parameter to face the bone to the same direction as the lattice. I'll make it a little bit smaller, then Shift D to duplicate it multiple times and match them with the lattice points, more or less. Separate them a little bit. Now we have to name every bone. I'll name them top, down, left, right, and mid. In object mode with the armature selected, hit Ctrl-A, apply all transforms. Select the lattice, then the armature, hit Ctrl-P with empty groups. Now if we select the lattice, we will see 5 new empty groups with the name of the bones. We just need to select one of them and in edit mode assign the correct vertex. Do the same for the others. For the top and bottom ones, we will be selecting the entire row of vertices, leaving no vertex without being assigned to a group. Check it out, now we have our custom eye deformers. Let's create another armature. This will be the main driver of the deformers and the base rig. Click first on the deformers, then the base rig, and lastly the new armature. Ctrl-P set parent to bone. Now we can move the entire eye. Okay, we're almost done. Let's make it look nicer. In object mode, hit Shift-A, curve, circle, scale it down and enter edit mode. Change the pivot point to individual origins and scale them down till we reach this cool diamond shape. Give it a name, hide it. Now select the deformers controls on pose mode and on custom objects select the shape we just created. Adjust the size, select a color theme, and lastly, if you enable the add-on we set before, you can copy the shape to the other bones by Ctrl-C, copy bone shape. Let's do the same thing with the big control. For testing the rig, I'll create a sphere with the same color of the eye and adapt it onto the surface using both our custom controls and the base secondary controls. Nice! For parenting, select the big control, go to bone constraints and add a child of constraint, with the target being the sphere. And finally, with the purpose of better integrating the eye, I created a custom texture for the sphere, as well as adding a subdivision surface modifier to the skin and eyeball, since they were lacking a little bit of definition. Nice! And that should be it. Thank you so much for watching, I hope you find this tutorial helpful, and if you have any doubt or other video suggestion, just let me know, okay? See you in the next one.